So, it's early as fuck. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I know y'all up on y'all way, trying to get to work. I know my truckers out here in the streets. Salute to all the truckers out here in these streets, driving safe. God damn it, not rushing. Y'all on y'all way to work, don't be rushing either. It ain't worth it. God damn it, it ain't worth it. And I end up in a traffic jam fucking with your ass because you done crashed into the goddamn guardrail and hit by 4 cars. So y'all keep it cool in the streets this morning. I wanted to come in and speak on some shit I'm watching on this docuseries I'm watching on Netflix. It's called Rotten. Now, I watched season 1 when it came out last year. I like watching docuseries just to, learn shit. It's about food and the shit we consume. There are 2 episodes in particular that, weigh so heavy on me. I need to come in here and speak about it. It's the one when we're dealing with cocoa, the production of chocolate, and, this is taking place, and the reason it's touching me, and the reason it's bothering me so bad, is that it's going on over in Africa. Now, I know there are many black people who black Americans, 3 Ks, don't get this shit fucked up. Many black Americans don't really give a fuck about what's going on in Africa. Many Africans, Africa, 3 Ks too, don't get it fucked up. Don't give a fuck about black Americans, what's going on in America. There's a lot of that going on. If that's your mindset, then you won't relate to this video. You won't relate to the sentiments of this video because that's not my mindset. I care about black people all over the world, and particularly the poor, disenfranchised that have to suffer. I'm watching this one about cocoa. I watched it the other day. Actually, it took me about 2 days to watch it. It was about an hour long, and I'm watching it on the road whenever I get a chance. I watched this one about cocoa, and really, when you watch Rotten, it's dealing with the money. It's dealing with the chain of how things are grown, how they're cultivated, how they're harvested, up to who the fuck is making the billions of dollars off of it. One thing I know, and this has been a truth for me for a very long time, is that I hate motherfuckers who make billions off of other people while other people suffer. The people who are doing the actual work are suffering. Now, the cocoa is taking place, the growth of it, a lot of it, most of the chocolate that we eat, we may not even think about. I'm not really big on chocolate personally, but I know that based on what I'm watching, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry, and we're talking about not just 2-3 billion, we're talking about like 20-30 billion dollars made off chocolate per year. America consumes the most chocolate of any country, any nation in the world. Of course, I can see that because we are the most motherfucking obese, the most gluttonous. But nonetheless, the chocolate is coming from Ghana and over there in West Africa on the Ivory Coast. It's where a lot of the cocoa is grown. And the farmers of the cocoa, while everybody is making billions of dollars off of this, the industry that is cocoa, which we'll get into more here in a minute, the cocoa farmer makes about $1 a day. I'll say that again. The cocoa farmer makes about $1 a day. The areas in which the cocoa farmers live are huts. These people are disenfranchised completely. They don't even have a school. They have no infrastructure whatsoever, although what they're producing is making billions for some random ass colonizer owned corporation. This is your Nestle's, your Hershey's, and you know, as I'm watching this, I'm sure some of you have heard of would be Belgium chocolate. And if you think about Belgium and its, you know, complete disregard for African life, you think about King Leopold, the man who many don't know about at all because they want you to focus on what Hitler did to white folk. This man killed about 12 to 13 million Congolese people. Savagery. Again, that's King Leopold. If you have any time, do some research on him. And then when I'm thinking about, and I saw this and they talk about Belgium chocolate, like they've been colonizing in Africa for centuries. Murdering. But they in there getting getting these cocoa beans out. The farmers are making $1 a day. The areas are disenfranchised. And African people are the ones at the end of the day who suffer. As I watch this docu-series, a lot of the world is fed via Africa. But if you look at the areas, and I'm going to go back into this when we talk about the one on water, when you look at the areas are completely disenfranchised. That shit bothers the fuck out of me. It makes me hate more the rich corporations, the people who conduct themselves that are rich like corporations, and these shadow corporations, because a lot of the corporations, it's not just Hershey, Nestle, the people who don't even put their name on the packaging, they make it even more. Because they don't really need their name on the packaging. They just running the operations to make these billions of dollars and will not invest in the infrastructure of the people who making them all the fucking money. And at the end of the day, it's black people who suffer. These people are living in poverty. I saw, of course, they were doing interviews of people who live in the areas where the cocoa is grown. And families. I mean, there's one farmer on here is a father. And he said he got 2 wives. Shout out to, believe me, over there in Africa. But he got 2 wives and 7 kids. Now, in an effort to make the wage, even though it's just $1 a day, his kids have to go out there and do this shit with him. And they're not doing it via machinery. They're using machetes. Manual labor. Hard manual labor. The motherfucking colonizers at the top won't even invest in anything to make the jobs easier on the farmers. And this goes into, as I looked at this, I thought of how they like to claim that all these white folk was coming up with these different inventions on the plantations to make the slave's job easier. That was not the white man and his mama inventing shit. Those was our ancestors, because they could give a fuck less whether the job was easier for us, whether it would produce or make us more productive as per volume. If they can work people to the fucking bone, why the fuck would they give about the work being easier, more efficient? They didn't give a fuck if you drop dead right there in the goddamn field. Same situation with these cocoa. I know as we consume chocolate, we don't really think about where it comes from, what's going on, what is it taking to get this cocoa. We just eat it because it's good. In lieu of the holiday coming up, which will be Halloween, which y'all, niggas gonna celebrate. It doesn't matter what's said about it. But nonetheless, that chocolate is being made via black people in Africa. Most of it, I won't say all of it is made there, but majority of it is made in Africa. While these areas where it's made, while the areas are producing essentially billions of dollars in revenue, they're making $1 a day. Don't have school, don't have infrastructures, don't have anything. That shit makes me mad as fuck. And it seems that when people have an issue with rich corporations, they make it seem like something wrong with you. That's the way this society and this world is set up. When you can't stand, when you hate the rich corporations, they make it seem like something wrong with you. That goes into the theme of the recent movie The Joker, which a lot of people have an issue with, which I did a small review on. No spoilers in it, but I did a small review on that. But the rich, this is the reason that they are despised. They have every reason to be despised because they are making more money than they can spend in their fucking lifetime. Meanwhile, the people who are actually doing the goddamn work, the people who actually put in the work, make next to nothing. What the fuck you gonna do with $1 a day? Because I'm sitting here looking at this shit, watching, why people suffer. And then I go on to watch another one that came up about water. And how much money the bottled water companies are making on this earth. And the bottled water industry came essentially out of nowhere. And now America is the second largest consumer of bottled water. Second largest consumer. Only nation that consumes more bottled water than America is China. But we're still dealing with billions of dollars being made off bottled water. Because they privatized the water. Nestle. Again, Nestle. Making billions. And we all know about the situation, the poisonous water in Flint. That's still ongoing. They are still being, Nestle, which is giving them the water, the bottled water, but they are still living off of bottled water. Water's still poison in Flint. And understand that Flint is just one situation that was nationally publicized. But there's water fucked up all over America. America's supposed to be a superpower. Supposed to be one of the best nations in the world. But can't even ensure that all of its citizens have clean water. Can't even do that. That's failure on the part of the nation's government. My people suffering. One of the newest cases of this came out in New Jersey. I posted up about it on my Instagram. I think it was last year, 2018. That New Jersey water got lead in it. If you do any amount of research, there are smaller areas that aren't getting the national publicity. Water fucked. But you know the nation with the most disenfranchisement as it comes to having clean water? Africa. They focused on an area in Africa known as Lagos. Where you'll have corporations that will come in, feed off of the water in Africa. The areas in which they take the water, disenfranchised, don't have clean water, forced to get basically black market water from random ass wells, non-tested water. And the way that they're cleaning or purifying the water now, a lot of it is through reverse osmosis. These corporations don't even have the goddamn decency to ensure. Now, you done made billions now. You've been making it for decades now. You can't ensure that water is a right, clean water, accessible water is a right for every person on earth to have. They can't even do that. That's how sick and savage these motherfuckers are. Now, there was an African brother over in Lagos making building a water filtration plant. I forget his name, but he was educated here in America, and he worked for a water corporation over here in America. He took that back to Africa, and he's trying to do that same, build a filtration plant for the people in Lagos. His goal was to feed, or not feed, have access to water, or grant access to water to about 5 million Lagosians. Guess how many people are in Lagos? About 19 to 20 million. So even if he does get the water to 5 million, that's still, and he's still looking for investors, because again, this is a filtration plant. There is piping that has to be laid to get the water to those residents. He having a problem getting the goddamn funding for this. Because the rich corporations of this fucking earth, on this earth, are fucking trash. And when people hate these corporations, they have every right, if you ask me, to do so. I am one of these. I hate these motherfuckers with a passion. When you look at a documentary such as this, or a docuseries such as this, where they're talking about, food and where a lot of the resources come from, a lot of the and we know this. Africa is being robbed and pillaged at all times and have been for centuries by different colonizing nations who don't give a fuck about the African peoples at all, whatsoever. They just take it. That's all they do is take and make all this fucking money. And my people out here suffering. And again, I don't care if you don't look at other Africans as your people. They my motherfucking people if they not yours. They mine. I carry them for your silly ass. I'll do it. Because that shit breaks my fucking heart to see these kids, don't even have clean water. To see these kids working in cocoa fields, slave labor, which they tried to say that they banned this would be slave labor. But if you're paying the father farmer $1 a day to maintain a household, when his kids get of age, and we talking about, 8, 9, 10 is of age as far as, working in when you're dealing with these situations and these conditions, that's of age. Because now the kids have to help out the family. This shit is trash. That's why I will forever hate corporations. I don't give a fuck what type of charitable shit they try to do. I always know these motherfuckers could be doing more. And I know that people don't like hearing, well, you can't tell corporations what to do with their money. It's their money. Fuck that shit. They owe a debt to the people that are suffering so they can make billions. They owe a motherfucking debt. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says about that. They owe a motherfucking debt. People are suffering. All over this motherfucking world so these bitches can make more money they can spend in their fucking lifetime. Refusing to invest in infrastructure in these areas. With all the natural resources that come from Africa, there should be very little disenfranchised, impoverished areas in Africa, but that's not the case. There should be absolutely no areas in Africa that aren't getting clean water. That have sustainable life essentials. So fuck corporations. I feel nothing in my heart but hate for these motherfuckers. Because I see what they're doing. And you silly motherfuckers that will ride for the corporations, fuck you too. That's how I feel. Because I see the money that's being made. And if you get a chance to check out this docuseries, this is season 2, and it's one on cocoa and then one on water. I mean, you can take the chance. I mean, you can take the opportunity to watch them all. I watch them all. Because I always want to see where the money comes. Where's the money going? Who getting rich off of this? How the people that are making all the money for these motherfuckers, the motherfuckers that's doing the actual labor, how much are they suffering? That's how I judge corporations. And it doesn't matter what corporation you go to. Whichever one you look at. If you go down to the bottom level and you look at how the workers are being paid, how the workers are being treated, the areas that the workers inhabit and live in, it's always motherfucking squalor. And therefore, fuck them all. And I'll continue to talk and bang on corporations and not have an issue. I don't give a fuck if a corporation go belly up, motherfucker go bankrupt. I seen a motherfucker on here crying on the one on the cocoa, on the chocolate. Colonizer crying because he ran some fraudulent shit and got caught. Him and his daddy got caught. So he had to do some goddamn jail time talking about how the hardest thing he ever had to do was tell his kids he was going away for a couple years. Motherfucker got 2.5 years. Committing fraud, making millions. End up going belly up though. I felt nothing in my heart. This motherfucker sitting on there crying. Out now though. The house he's sitting in still big as a bitch. Crying. I feel nothing for him or his kids. That's how cold my heart is towards these motherfuckers. As I'm watching my people suffer. And the amazing thing about the black children in this area is they still smiling. They still laughing and playing in these villages. And when we look at our lives and we think about how much we suffering, because there is suffering all over, but there's different levels to suffering. We think about how fucked up and bad we got it. Complaining oftentimes. When I look at these kids, y'all, it's humbling. It's humbling to me. And I always check myself based on what's going on in the world. I never try to look at my life as what's going on with me. I might be struggling right now. I always try to look out here in this world and see people that are suffering in ways that I can't even imagine. And they have the ability to smile. Have something to look forward to. That amazes me. It's humbling. So when a lot of you motherfuckers are complaining, the stupid shit y'all be talking about and complaining about, this is why I can't even take it seriously. I can't take people seriously. And some people look at me as being very cold for this. But the reason why that is because I look at the world. I'm trying to find out what's going on in the world. Who's suffering? You can just look at the motherland if that's, you can start there. You're black. Start there. Whenever you think of you having a bad day. Start there. And imagine raising your kids in these situations that these kids are being raised in. Your kid holding a goddamn machete at 10 years old, chopping down cocoa leaves for a goddamn $1 a day. If that. That's if they get that. They had a segment here where they was talking about them having full-blown slavery. Kids being beaten. Held captive for labor. And of course we know slavery is still happening. If you do any amount of research. It's still happening. It's still happening to children. Of course they try to come in and say that they are banning the child labor, because again, Nestle got hit up with this shit some years back. I want to say it was 2008, 2009, and all they did was say, "Oh, okay, we're gonna watch it better." They don't, because they don't have to actually do anything. They just have to say they're doing something. And these motherfucking billionaire corporations have so much lobbying power within governments that even the governments will end up working in favor of these billionaire corporations, multi-billion corporations. So it's fuck the government too. I mean, if you want to see why, some of the things that I say about corporations, about the rich, about the fucking governments with an S, governments. Because there's more corrupt governments going on out here than it is in America. I'm gonna bang on the American government. But governments are compromised. Don't give a fuck about the people at all. And I wish these farmers, I wish they understood. I wish anytime I see stuff like this, I wish these nations of people who doing all the work would understand their power. I say the same things to us. And of course, I've been saying it for years and nobody wants to give credence to what I'm saying. It's chalked up as fuckery. But if the worker bee ever realizes that without it, nothing else moves. Nothing gets done without the worker bee, because these motherfuckers not gonna come up out of their offices and do no work. They never have. That's not what they're about. That's not in their code. If we ever realize how much power you have as a worker, people all over the world, not just black either. This ain't just black right here. People all over the world would, change the world when you realize how much power you got. That's all the fuck I want to say. I know I ran off on this video for a while, y'all. But it makes me so fun. It just breaks my heart to see this shit. And I get so just enraged when I see this type of shit taking place. And see so many people not giving a fuck. I mean, you gonna eat chocolate, and drink your water. You don't think nothing about the people who don't have, the people who are without. There's nothing to, we don't think nothing about it. But there are people out here that are suffering at all times. And if you get a chance to, again, watch just these two. If you only, this is for black people. And I haven't watched every episode. I'm on the one about sugar now. I started it last night. I didn't finish it. I'm on the one about sugar. And y'all already know sugar consumption is a beast. And of course they touch on slavery on the sugar cane plantations, which if you study, anything about slavery, these were some of the most vile conditions that our ancestors worked in, was on these sugar plantations. But you know who consumes the most sugar than anybody in the goddamn world. But I haven't finished watching that one yet. But, It's an interesting thing to watch. Anytime you get a chance to watch something that shows you where the money go or where the money ends up going, I think you should take a look at it. I know it's not exciting as y'all's reality shows and all this stupid shit y'all watch, but it'll give you perspective. It'll make you understand why people such as myself talk this way about this government and these corporations, about governments and shadow corporations. It'll give you some insight as to why this is happening, why people are saying these types of things. But again, that's Rotten. It's on Netflix. I know y'all got that Netflix. A lot of people do. Rotten, season 2, the episode about cocoa, chocolate production, and the episode about water. Check them out. Alright? That's all the fuck I wanted to say. Mad love anybody who watched this video up to this point. Y'all already know what it is. Y'all like, share, subscribe. Links in the description box to make any donations. Order t-shirts. Follow me on social media. Fuck society. Fuck this government. Fuck corporations. Fuck billionaires. Fuck these motherfuckers who refuse to do anything with their money but make more money and leave the people to suffer at the bottom. And it just so happens it's typically black people being used. Fuck them all. That's all the fuck I wanted to say. Child Team Rob, y'all already know what the fuck it is. I'm out.